Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Hi. Hi,
Hey,
hi, Des. This is really exciting. I'm so glad we're doing this.
you can hear me,
Yeah,
right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Look at us rocking our fros. Tonight is the most appropriate night to
Yeah.
wear these with pride. So we'll let as many people as possible join, and then we're going to just get into it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited for this topic.
It is. And I am to myself. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
Needs to be spoken about a little bit more.
Yeah,
So,
we're going to
yeah.
ruffle some feathers.
I love how we're both wearing our froze out
Yeah,
today.
and they're about the same size
Yeah.
as well, Afros.
See you,
Similar.
left track.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, let's see. Okay, okay, okay. Don't be fooled now. We got the length. We got
We
the
got
length. We got the
that.
growth. Yes, Desiree, you're also rocking your natural fro. Okay, girl.
Nice.
Hi,
Nice.
D Lioness. Hi, Royal Queen 30. Hi, The Real Camo. Certified Shan.
Camo.
MSH. This is exciting. So excited for this topic.
Yes.
How's your day been?
It's been
Yeah.
good. It's been good. How about yours?
Yes, same. Literally been back to back. And you know what? The amazing thing about rocking our natural hair, didn't even have to do anything
I
to it. I
know,
was
right?
like, quick
Just
throw
wake up and
check.
go.
It's just
Check.
this in the middle of the
Shake
day. Let
up.
me just shake it up a little bit. How we doing?
Yeah, yeah.
The only thing I worry about now is if it's small. I want it
Yeah.
big.
Me too. In the volume.
Yes.
Give me
Give
that
me
volume.
that
Definitely.
mane. Give me that lion's mane.
Yes. Give me my crown. Like
Yes.
the crown act we're going to be
Oh,
talking about.
yes.
Like many
All
people
about
don't
it.
even know about that.
Yeah.
So,
And I think let's just have an open conversation.
yes.
Let's speak our
Mhm.
truth. Let's talk about the
Yes.
history. Let's
Yes.
talk about the cultural
Yes.
context, societal context, all of that good stuff. And if anybody wants to, you guys who are on with us now, if anybody wants to drop some comments, questions as we're going, we'll just take a breather and listen to what you guys have to say because we
Yes.
want this to be interactive.
Yes.
It's a really important topic. Promise this won't be a super serious one, but there are aspects of this that we need to talk about that are serious, that are
Yes.
affecting our everyday lives, and that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
We're going to break the mold a little bit. Might upset a few people if I lose a few followers. Wasn't meant to be.
It's
Yeah,
okay. I can't help but be who I am, right? I have
exactly.
referrals, so I can't help but be who I am.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump into it, and then people can just join as we go. Right. We're going to get into the thick of it. But I just wanted to kind of introduce myself to you guys. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Chelsea Flynn. I am a master life and transformation coach. Is my passion project at the moment, and I'm actually working with Melesia at the moment, this magnificent lady. And this idea really just came to us through in the middle of a session. We were talking about a few things, and this was one of the things that we shared a commonality on. And, you know, and I think sometimes the best ideas come to us at the most like
Unexpected
opportune or
time.
inopportune times. Yeah. And we're like, we need to talk about this because if we feel this way, there'll be more women and men who may want to have this conversation. So,
Yeah.
um, we wanted to talk about, so I've kind of summarized it on my little post-it here into three main areas, but this will be a very, well, four main areas. This will be a very free-flowing back and forth.
Mhm.
What is the Crown Act, number one? I want to get into that. I want to understand it. I want to talk about it. Let's educate people on this.
Mhm.
The historical and cultural significance of natural hair and afros, and that could include, and we'll get into that, locks, braids, whatever. Hair discrimination and career opportunities, and we'll talk about discrimination in a wide range of areas.
Mhm.
And then really about how companies can do better, how individuals can do better, how can we as a community empower more Black women or people to embrace natural hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So let me lead into to the
Yes.
first point, Melissa, because I'll be honest with you, when we first started talking about this, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I wasn't familiar with the Crown Act, and I had to go away and look this up, right? So
Yes,
can we start with that? What is
yes.
the Crown Act and what does it mean?
So the Crown Act, like I love how they have the acronym abbreviation CROWN, meaning creating a respectful and open world for natural
And this
hair.
is
Okay.
actual
This is
legislation, right?
actual legislation in the United States,
Yes.
first to be passed in the state of California. So basically, the Crown Act has been passed in some US states, while some are still under, local hair discrimination and stuff
Mm,
like that. This act basically highlights and supports Black people with afros, locks, all the discrimination that has been, round around that kind of thing and the biases for unprofessionalism in the workplace. Like this act was created to support people like ourselves
mm,
who should be able to wear our natural hair in its natural state and shouldn't be forced to have to go find a way to blow dry our hair, flat iron it. It's expensive to do that. It's
mm,
time consuming.
mm.
We want to be
Yeah,
ourselves. So,
absolutely.
it's so sad that they had to actually create an
Yeah,
act to let people know that
yeah.
you not discriminate against people that look like us
The
because of our hair. You simply,
hair. And
you
it
can't,
is.
can't do that.
It is sad. Thank you for that explanation. It is
Yeah.
sad that legislation had to be introduced in order for people to be able to just wear the natural hair. But on the plus side, it's actually, I find it really, I'm really happy to hear that there is legal ramifications in the States if you
Yeah.
were to discriminate against somebody based on their hair. And
Yes.
it is just outrageous. And when I started going down this rabbit hole of the Crown Act, I was like, wow. I was like, well, I'm originally from England. What does the UK have? And I don't think currently the UK has any
Anything.
legal or any legislation that protects people from being discriminated
And
against based on their hair, right?
like,
There's been discussions, but there hasn't
like,
actually been any laws passed.
legislation
And
put
what
in
about
place.
in Cayman? Do
Like,
we have that here?
like even in the Caribbean on the whole, there is, I mean, you would wonder, like, why would we
Yeah,
even need something
yeah,
like that here in the Caribbean? But funny enough, because of outside influence,
yeah,
TV, it's what we've grown up seeing
yeah.
as being normal or seeing as being fashionistic or the right way of doing things has influenced our own culture to make
Mm,
us have biases within our own
mm,
Caribbean cultures
mm,
to have a
mm.
problem with looking like this.
So
You
what
know,
sort of biases are we talking about here in the Caribbean? Let's start there. What sort of biases
like
have you experienced or are you aware of when it comes to hair?
I remember when I first went natural and I was out at one of my workplaces and like it was a lot of customer interaction and the older person came up and she looked at me with such disgust on her face at my hair and I knew it was
What?
my afro and she was looking like she can't go comb her hair. And I was like, it was just, this was like way back
Yeah,
in what, 24,
yeah,
2015, 20, like way
yeah,
back before it became a whole big thing now.
yeah.
And they were like, the person just looked at me in like complete disgust
And
because of
this
my
was
hair.
another Caribbean
Yes, but
person that
another
was
Caymanian, to be
wow.
honest. But then all the Caymanians, how they
Yeah.
kind of like traditional in the way, they got look a certain way, fix up yourself and whatever not. But
Right. How did
it
that make
was,
you feel in that
I
moment?
mean, I was like, from when I went natural, I was empowered and I knew that I would come with rejections and stuff like that. So mentally, I was like fine, and personally, I
Mm,
wouldn't feel like
mm,
self-conscious or
mm,
anything like that. But I was disappointed that
mm,
someone would be so public with their
mm.
expression because of my hair in its natural state, being its
Yeah,
natural. Even with my daughter, like my two
yeah.
daughters who went to school, one of them have curlier hair, more softer curls. One has more thicker hair, and she was teased in school for her hair from a very very young age. And I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Like,
Mm,
and it starts from young because of what we see on TV.
yes,
The influences that we see
yes.
on a daily basis. It's just how we're
It's
programmed to think.
a lot to do with societal influence.
Like,
And let's rewind a little bit. What is the significance to people of color, or whatever the respectful way is to say it? I'm mixed race, so my experience is going to be slightly
so
different to yours, right? what is the significance to you, or we can speak on behalf of other people with Afro-Caribbean hair.
Hmm.
What is the significance of the afro? What does it mean? What is it a symbol of?
Like for me, it's a symbol of being who I
Yeah.
am. Like it's a symbol of me accepting myself for who
Yes.
I am. It's
Yes.
empowering me
Yes.
to not have self-hate, to know, to appreciate how I was made. I love my hair. Yes, you want it straight sometimes and you want to look like normal, but I have become more accustomed to seeing myself like this, accepting that this is the way that I am.
Mm,
I love myself.
mm,
I love to encourage others to love themselves
mm.
just in your natural state.
Say as you
As
are. And one of the
you are.
things that, because I had to sit down and think, okay, because, and we'll get into it a bit more, but like you said, when I decided to, go on my natural journey, because it is,
Yeah.
right? And that's a whole other thing in itself. But I sat with myself today, I was putting the baby to bed and I was like, where does this come from, this embarrassment or this having to
Hmm.
work up the courage to wear your natural hair, because does Sally down the road have the same experience when she gets out of bed and brushes her hair, or is this unique to our experience, to the Caribbean or the Black or the African
Hmm.
experience of we have to kind of work up the courage to wear our hair as it was naturally intended?
Yeah.
And it got me thinking about, although I am mixed race, so I am half white and half black, and my own journey as a mixed race woman from the UK. And I remember kind of growing up, and GHD straighteners came out at
Hmm.
the time,
Hmm.
and I was so excited because all I ever wanted was to have the same straight hair as my friends at
Yeah.
school,
Yeah.
and that's wild, because it's only when you get older and you're like, oh, my curls, why would I dare like straighten these beautiful curls? But as a child or as a young woman,
Hmm.
I personally felt shame around the bigger my hair, the more I tried to slick it back. The thicker my hair, the more I wanted it smooth, even down to putting it in a ponytail. I used to get frustrated that my hair wouldn't be like fly away, like the other girls with the ponytails, to that level, right?
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, like, where does it come from? And I think part of it is what you said. It's the reactions from other people. It is that, you know, I think, well, across the board, having curly hair in particular is more of a minority. So when people see it, they do point it out. So part of it is the societal influence on
Hmm.
a person's style being
Yeah.
different.
And that's something to add to that too. It's hard to handle our hair
Yes.
sometimes, and that's something we always tell ourselves. It's so hard to clear out. It rough. So like growing up, I remember always wanting to cream my hair. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait till my mama allowed me to cream my hair growing up.
Yeah.
Just to get it straight so I can manage it and it didn't hurt when you're clearing it out.
Yeah.
I think because we grew up not accepting our hair or even
Yeah.
understanding how to take care of our hair because we're
Yeah.
only now learning how to
Yes.
take care of our hair. Like be honest
Yes.
with ourselves,
Yeah.
Black
No,
people. Like
seriously.
we be
Like
on
now.
YouTube.
And until I had children with these big hair, I'm like, okay, I know nothing. I'm on YouTube trying to figure
Yeah,
out, like,
yeah,
oh, I need to get sulfate free. How have I not known this all my bloody life? You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Exactly. Your
But
hair loves
yeah,
water, keep
yeah.
watering your hair,
You don't have
hydrate.
to
Like
wash. We don't have to wash our hair every single
yeah,
day. It's not dirty to not do that. But on that point, I was in the gym chatting to my trainer Andre, and he's also got a big fro, so we're kind of twinning. And he was like, "What? Like you don't brush your hair out every day?" I was like, "Andre, are you joking?" He said, "Yeah, I get up at like 5 o'clock to do it." I'm like, "No way." But even between, we can celebrate our natural hair in our natural styles. I like it bigger the better. The longer I leave my hair without, I like to build up to wash day.
yeah,
And I found sometimes when I say that to someone who doesn't have this kind of hair, they're like, oh, like, wow, you don't wash your hair every day. I'm like, no, like, it doesn't make my hair dirty. It hydrates it,
yeah,
and it's educating. So I,
yeah.
I love those opportunities. But just going back to kind of the UK,
Mhm.
I think part of the issue is these, would it be fair to call them like Eurocentric standards of
Yeah,
beauty? So I wouldn't necessarily say, I'm not necessarily talking about a colour, but in a sense, yeah, those beauty standards that we see in magazines are
yeah,
influenced by the skinny nose,
yeah,
maybe the paler skin, the straight flowy hair.
yeah,
You know, these are very Eurocentric standards that
yeah,
we can't aspire to. And yet I tried to, you know, I would get the clipping extensions and straighten and, you know,
yeah.
I had my whole blonde phase and all of that. Like it's wild that literally we try to aspire to something that we are the complete opposite of, but
Yeah.
that is all we saw as kids on the magazines and on the
You
TV.
know, it would be great to even see more of that nowadays, because when you stop to think about celebrities and people of, you know, high caliber, whatever not, they still wearing a lot of the straight hair looks. Like, you, if you start to like
Yeah,
evaluate everyone
yeah.
who's, you know, like that, like they're still kind of doing that, and it's still something that's a work in progress, because we
Mm,
feel like as if we getting somewhere. Yes, we're getting more accustomed
yeah,
to seeing it. We thinking it looks better. Like before, we weren't
yeah,
thinking it looking good.
yeah,
We get back to the 60s vibes where they used to have the afros in the
yeah,
60s
yeah.
and stuff, all
The
that kind
civil
of thing.
rights movement, it was a
Right,
protest. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That getting back to accepting that, but even in high, like professional settings, corporate settings, you know,
Mm.
stuff like that, we're still having to deal with that on
Let's
a
talk
continuous.
about that. That's a
Yeah,
big one, right?
yeah,
Because Cayman, it's a financial services and a
yeah,
legal hub, right?
yes.
Things like the sixth largest financial center, offshore center in the world. So although yes, we're in the Caribbean, the corporate world is very corporate, right?
Mhm.
As we know. Now, why do we think discrimination of hair it still exists to this day and actually quite prominently in the corporate setting?
Yes, I mean, that is a very, very interesting question. Something that still boggles my mind, but I think it boils down to the root cause, which is all what we talked about and alluded to earlier,
Mm,
is the programming of our brains. Like
mm,
when we look on TV, when we see movies, how often do you see someone that look like
mm,
this
mm,
in one
mm,
of those type of roles, or in those
mm.
type of positions, or
Or in
in
an
type of,
everyday role, because
yeah.
when I've seen it, it's like, oh, it's Beyonce being Foxy Cleopatra and she's in the 70s. But where do we see the representation of a serious movie with the main lead with her throw out or her locks
Yes.
out, you know? And we don't. You're right. We really don't. And I think part of the issue is programming but representation. Are the
Yes.
leadership teams in these companies diverse? Because if you come to an interview with me, I'm not batting an eyelid about the afro except to tell you it's beautiful and what products do you use, right?
Exactly.
But if I am a manager in a company who doesn't hire usually or even interview, you know, somebody who looks like me, then you know maybe due to my own
Hmm.
ignorance, I can forgive
Hmm.
ignorance if I educate you and then you're good on
Yes.
it. It doesn't
Yes.
discriminate against me. Maybe those sorts of biases of you don't look like me and that hair, I don't see it as neat and tidy because it's wild,
Hmm.
right? I think representation is important. I think companies need to start thinking about diversity
Hmm.
and then even within the companies, because I'll be honest with you, when I first started rocking my natural hair, people will openly make comments like, you know, jokingly, but it's still that's not fun. Like, what do you mean by that?
They're
You
not
know, what have
joking.
you
They're
done to
not
your hair?
joking.
I haven't done anything. You know, oh, you look like you're in the 80s. Well, why? Because my hair's how it
That's
normally
their
is. Do you know what I mean?
subtle way of telling you your hair doesn't look.
Yeah. Or what about this one? Can I touch it? Or just touching it? No,
Yes.
you can't just
Yes.
go up to a woman, any woman, and touch her hair.
Yes.
That's creepy,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And
So I
I remember.
think there needs to be
Yes.
boundaries there.
Yes, there definitely needs to be bounds. I was sitting here thinking as well. I remember you had asked earlier about in Cayman and any laws we had about here. And I remember back in school days, people with locks couldn't, like back in my days,
Yeah.
people with locks couldn't go to school here in
What?
Cayman.
In the
And
Caribbean?
yes, that was a big thing in Cayman. And a
What
young man,
was the reason?
because he had he his tradition was he needed wanted to wear locks for his tradition,
Yeah,
and he wasn't able to go to school here in Cayman, so it was a big thing. He took him to court and all of that, and fortunately things were changed in the Cayman
good,
education
good,
system where it would allow
good.
people to
Because
respect them with their religion, so it actually was here at some point in
religion,
time.
exactly as you said, hairstyles are more, our hair, how we wear it is more than a hairstyle. It is,
Mhm.
it can very much be part of our cultural identity, our religion, if you're Rastafarian or,
Yes.
whatever it might pertain to. So, when we think about non-negotiables in other religions,
Mhm.
wearing a scarf, if you are a
Mhm.
Muslim, would you force that person to take the scarf off in the same way you would force the guy
Mhm.
to cut his dreads off?
Mhm.
Or who says that braids aren't professional? Like, that is so subjective,
Yes,
um
but
but
it's
you're
so
right, you're
yeah.
right, and it's unacceptable. It really
Yeah.
is unacceptable, because the impact is, if
Mhm.
you don't have clear policies that include talking about somebody's hair as a discriminatory action, people feel uncomfortable in the office, or they
Exactly.
start to change their styles to look like everybody else, and that's
Yes,
not authentic for them.
exactly.
And like you
And
said, it's extra work for us. You
yes,
know how early I've got to
and
get up to straighten this thickness.
you telling me that?
Look, right, to start combing that. Are you joking?
Yeah, yeah, you're
Right.
absolutely correct. And
So,
I hope there's more education that is done
yeah,
in the corporate settings in leadership roles.
yes,
I
to
mean,
celebrate
yeah,
diversity.
yeah, because Cayman has a lot of different nationalities that come
Yeah.
here. I know that we used to be the sixth largest, fifth largest financial center in the world. Cayman, unfortunately, isn't at the top anymore. We're down further down, anyways. But nonetheless, we are, high up there in the corporate setting when people are migrating to the country. We have a lot of people that look like us that migrate from other places as well
Yes.
too. So
Yeah.
it's important that we learn to accept people
Yes.
for who they are naturally. Like some people will have an afro, some people will have curls, some people afro gonna be small and shrinkage gonna be super real.
Mm-hmm.
Some people not gonna have as much shrinkage, and we just need to be able to accept it, just as we have accepted the Eurocentric way of thinking and seeing their various different hairstyles, and we don't think they're
That we
weird,
don't question
and we
it, we
don't
don't comment on it. And
question it.
I want to make the point clear that, I think there can also be some discrimination between different styles of afro. Not
Yes,
all
yes,
black hair
yes,
will have the
yes.
wrinkle, like the curl
That's what I'm
pattern that
trying
we
to
have.
say.
And that's important.
Yeah,
It's still beautiful with the ladies that, or the guys that have the afro hair that doesn't have the curls, right? Who sets these standards? This is
exactly.
subjective. The hair can be part of somebody's cultural identity. That is their roots. That is their heritage.
Yes,
And just as much as, I even believe with trying your best to pronounce somebody's name correctly, because it is
yeah,
important, is a part of their heritage, their family line, lineage,
right,
literally. So
right,
have the respect to honor another human being, based on things that are important to them. And hair is included. It is more than a
exactly.
hairstyle,
Ex-
and it's difficult. How do you handle situations where, you figure people didn't intend to offend you, but what they've said, they might be like, whoa, you look like whatever, by your hair, or you look like you're from the 80s, or, jokingly, but it draws attention to you. How do you handle those situations?
when people say that to me, no, I feel like, yes, this
You
is it. I
own
woke
it.
up like,
Yeah.
of course I do. I love my
Yeah.
hair, and if you don't like it, well,
Yes.
there's lots of hairstyles I don't like.
Yes.
But you don't go around telling everyone
Yeah.
I don't like your
Yeah.
hair.
I tell everyone this is where I hide my secrets. This is
I
this is
know,
my
right?
power.
This is like my
So-
umbrella when I go out. I don't have to put an umbrella on. I just
no,
walk out in the
no,
rain. My hair
no.
just
Yeah, it's amazing. The only issue I have is when I lie down, it just goes flat on
it
one
just
side.
sits.
But that's it. Quick
Yes,
fix, right?
yes.
Quick fix. So, what about in terms of when we talk about Afro hairstyles and like these very different looks that allow us to be who we are? What do you think is kind of a way that, if people are genuinely curious, they just want to compliment us? Because let's be real, anything that is different draws attention, right? I have a
Mhm.
son with a disability, and I always encourage people's kids, if they're
Mhm.
interested in my son doing something quirky or weird, to just ask and I'll
Mhm.
explain, you know. What do you
Mhm.
think is the best approach for somebody who doesn't, you know, who doesn't have the hair we have or whatever, and they're just genuinely interested? Because you don't want people to feel
Like they
like they
can't come
can't
and
have a
say
chat, have
something.
a conversation. I love compliments about my hair. It's one of my favorite compliments,
That's
you
the
know?
reason why I just embrace it, whether you mean it in a good
Yeah,
way, a funny way, or whatever. Anyone just feel welcome. You like my hair?
yeah,
Thank you so much. Like,
yes,
touch it, hair, it feels
yes,
real. I get people that ask me all the time, is that your hair?
yeah, me
Is that
too.
your hair? Is
It,
that? I'm like,
I didn't even
girl,
know
it
you
is.
could get fake hair like
I,
this. I'm like, oh, it's news to me. Can you get weaves like this? Like,
yes,
wow, like I'm so
girl, you can
beyond
get
it.
wigs like this.
So let's talk about it being a journey because you touched upon that before, and I thought it was a really interesting because it's also been a journey for me.
Yeah.
And when I reflected on this earlier as well, I was like, isn't it wild that to wear your natural hair, it's taken you until
Sure.
adulthood to feel comfortable and confident? Why is it a journey? So talk to me about your natural hair journey and why it was a journey for you.
Well, when I realized all the chemicals, um, that was in like the perms and the creams and stuff. I think I watched Good Hair. I think it was by one of
Mm,
the comedians. I
I've
think
seen it.
I think it's Good Hair. It's called. It's a show. Um, and it was very interesting. If
Yeah,
you have checked it out, and it was telling you all about the chemicals that into what we call good hair. Our black girls be trying to get
yeah.
good hair, this good hair
Becky with the good
terminology.
hair. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, like so that's how it was about. So it was showing you all the chemicals
Mm,
behind like
mm,
perms and creams and all these things. I was like, you know what?
mm,
I just can't. And I used to hate getting creams and getting
mm,
burned. Oh
mm.
gosh,
The
I used
things
to
we
hate
go
the burn.
through.
I used to hate getting burned in your scalp, get all. I hated it. So I said, you know what? Let me just go on a journey. I literally cut off all my hair, did a big chop, as we call
Mm-hmm.
it. I
Mm-hmm.
did that and I just went on my journey. I was pregnant with my third child at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went on my natural hair journey and I'm like, I ain't not got no time to be creaming
Mm,
my hair no more. I don't
mm,
got no time to
mm,
do none of the
mm.
stuff. And then when I went on the journey, then there was another journey trying to figure out how to handle my hair. I
Style it.
went
Take
through
care of
so
it.
much
Mm,
products.
mm,
I bought so much products
mm,
to figure out
mm,
what works for my
mm-hmm.
hair. I remember
Mm-hmm.
when I first realized my hair could actually like have curls with gel. I was like,
This is
wow,
amazing.
this looks
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, and then you
And then
embrace it.
right
Okay.
then I started to embrace it more, rock
Mm-hmm.
my curls and and then it was becoming more of a thing and more acceptance. Like I
Yes.
would wear my hair out to
Yeah.
work. I would wear my hair out to corporates. If anybody see me on the road, they're gonna say Melesia was doing on the road like this. Like I don't be ashamed.
Yeah,
For a
no.
long time, I stopped feeling ashamed of my afro.
Mm,
I would
mm,
just wash. I would just pick it out, pat it down, and go
mm,
like a legit
mm,
big afro
mm, mm.
and accept. And that helped me to accept
Yourself.
myself more
Yes.
by
Yes.
doing it in public. And like people were staring at me.
Yeah.
Like I used to get people
No, you
staring at
do.
me
Like, and I get it.
all
And
the time.
I walk in somewhere and I'm like, okay, I know I stand out. I've got big hair. It's usually the first thing people say, oh, your hair's big.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I hide all my secrets.
yeah,
Right. But it takes working up to like owning
yeah,
it once you realize people are staring.
yeah.
Um, I remember for me as a young girl, because my mum's white British
Mhm,
and my dad was the Caribbean part of me,
mhm,
but I was raised just by a white mother, right? So everything that really I think I could have benefited from in terms of the Afro Caribbean
mhm.
influence, I didn't really have. So it really was a journey of trying to figure that out and find that out
Um,
myself. And my mum did her best, bless her. But if you saw the hairstyles I had as a kid, like it was literally like slapped back with gel, two like really ugly plaits. And then as a teenager, when you start becoming more self-conscious, I wanted to look like the other,
yeah,
my other white
yeah.
European friends, and I did everything to straighten it and style it in that way and hide the curls. Like I hated it. I avoided the rain. I didn't go in pools. I was like flipping. What was that movie with the little gremlins where when the water comes, they're off, right? I'm like, no. I was like Cinderella at 12 o'clock. I'm gone
Yeah,
because the rain's coming and I don't want anyone to see my curly hair.
yeah.
And it was only as I've started to get older, and I think only until this is the first time in my life I've started embracing an afro. I've had so many hairstyles, straight clip-ins, weaves, braids. I did a bob, I did a blonde bob, I did bangs
Wow.
during the middle of a breakdown. Like, hair really has been a big part of my healing journey,
Hmm.
specifically when it came to tough times in my life. And I think a lot of women across the board can
Yeah.
relate to that part,
Yeah.
whether you're black, whether you're white, whether whatever. There's something about taking your power back when it comes to your hair and like
Yeah.
doing the big chop, right? Oh,
Yeah.
this guy, broke up in this relationship. The hair's getting cut, and on that point, I think in my experience, men have said to me, "I like you better with your long hair," or "You look nicer when your hair was straight." So I think it's been really empowering for me to go, "Fuck that." You know what? This is my hair. I don't care about being, what do they call it? Like dressing for the male gaze. This is me, and I've never felt more beautiful in owning my natural hair. And you know what really like cemented that for me was having my daughter, you know. And now she says to me, "Oh, mummy, I wish my hair was more curly like yours," right? Because she's got kind of blonde, a little
Yeah.
bit looser. She's like, "I want my
Mm-hmm.
hair curly." So now she makes me curl her hair in the morning. Whereas before, she, you know, it did affect me that I'm having this
Yeah.
straight hair. My little girl's got curly hair. All my kids have got curly
Yes.
hair. So what message am I
Exactly.
sending to my babies if mummy doesn't even
Exactly.
accept her own hair, right?
Exactly. That is so important. My daughters always tell me if I straighten my hair, they'd be like, "Mommy, I'm not used to seeing you like that. I'm used to seeing you in your afro." Like they say,
Yes.
whenever I think of mommy, I think of mommy with her afro.
Yeah.
That's what they always tell me, and like that's how I want my children
And
to
that's
embrace who
amazing
they are.
because you have the representation.
Yeah.
And like for me as a mixed race woman, I didn't have that representation. That was out of my mum's control.
Yeah.
But I think it's important for us to go do our research. When you told me about the Crown Act, I was like, I need to learn about my history
Yeah.
and things
Yes.
that are important to my people
Yeah.
as well. So I can educate and I can do
Yeah.
better. And I think that's what I really would like to come from this is people go look this stuff up and feel
Yeah.
empowered and
Yeah.
embrace it, right? And
Yes.
we say all of this to say, you know, it's not necessarily that we're saying we can't wear our straight hair because sometimes we want to rock a different
Yes.
look. That's
Yeah.
okay too. But as long
Yeah.
as you're still
Love
confident and
yourself.
love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's the big
absolutely.
thing. That's the big, because I find a lot of us, we like to wear protective style. We tell ourselves we're wearing protective
So
styles,
what would we
right?
say is a protective
And
style?
like
Can you
that
clarify?
can run, and protective styles can go from like wigs, weaves, braids, all of them we say to ourselves because we tired of doing our hair because it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a
Oh yeah.
lot. We
Yeah.
want to take a break.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, the protective styles are not always protecting our hair.
Mm,
A lot of the
yes.
time, the braids are breaking off our hair. We
Yeah.
think it's helping us, helping it grow. By the time you check it out, it's breaking,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're not taking out your braids often because you're trying to braid to not have to take it out in
Yeah.
2 weeks, right? You want to take it out 6 weeks, 8 weeks
Yeah.
later and that kind of stuff. Same thing with weaves.
Yeah.
We think we're trying to do benefits for our hair, but our hair loves
Mm,
water.
mm, mm,
Water, our
mm.
hair loves it. And we have
Yes.
to try to understand the more we wash our
Yeah.
hair to clean
Anna
it.
saying she's
And
doing
yes,
protective style at the moment. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah, so like, I mean, nothing wrong with a protective style, because I mean, you get tired and sometimes you
yeah.
want to take a break, you want to change up a hairstyle, but just be cautious to not
Yeah.
overdo protective styles, because a lot of time when the braiders do the braids and they snipping, they snipping your hair too.
Mm,
Like your hair don't always be
mm,
caught up, you know what I
mm,
mean? And when they taking it out, sometimes your hair is break because you need to
mm,
keep it washed
mm,
often and
mm,
clean,
mm.
and we think that oil in our hair going to help it grow all the time. And a lot of time, the oils just be gunking up in our
Yes.
scalp,
Yes.
not helping our
Mm,
hairs, our scalps to be
mm,
able to
mm,
breathe and grow
mm,
because we're growing
mm,
from the scalp, not the
mm,
end of your
mm.
hair.
Mm. And
So
I
there's a lot
think,
of education around that. I feel we need to just kind of help ourselves a little
and
bit
the
more.
amount
I'm
of
still
time and
learning.
money and energy we invest in these other styles, if
Yeah.
you really stripped it back to your natural hair, you know, your natural hair might not be where you want it right now.
No.
But as you said, you can play around with it, learn new styles, give it
Yes.
time. And there's
Yes.
nothing for me more satisfying than seeing my afro is growing. Like,
Yes.
this is my
Yes.
main, right? And
Yes.
like, even down to, I was like, oh, it might look quite nice if I do the blonde version of it, because I love seeing like blonde curly hair. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. I think I'm done with my bleaching
Yes.
days. Like, this is as natural as I can be, you know?
Mhm.
And
Like that.
I personally feel a great sense of pride. You know, I'm embracing it, I'm owning it, and I really feel comfortable with it now. I don't mind standing out.
Right.
And I think there's something very healing for a
Yes.
woman to just
Yes.
rock your hair
Just
as you
be
are.
you. Because
Yeah,
we're just being you, you just wake up and this is you.
yeah.
This is me. I can go in the water, like I'm not faking nothing. This is
No. And
just me.
Eliane, hi love, has said it's important to learn your curl type as well. Yes, which will
Yes.
help with how you take care of it, because what works for one curly
Yes.
girl might not work
Yes.
for the next.
Facts.
Listen, I need a
Facts.
whole education. Believe
Facts.
me, like I know I'm
Girl.
talking like I know what I'm talking about, but I couldn't tell you what curl pattern I have. Like there's
Yes.
different names for your
Yeah.
curls.
So there's like you can have like type 3, type 4.
Yeah,
Most people are like with our kind of hair is like type 3, type 4 kind of hair.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
be type 2.
yeah,
Like my daughter's
yeah,
like a 3. A 3 is a more like as you wet your hair, it curls up. Like
yeah,
for
yeah,
us now, we have to like twine our hair
yeah,
up or
yeah,
put it
yeah.
in perm
Takes
roll. So
work.
that's more
Yeah,
of like a
yeah.
4. 4B, 4C is like the real coarse, like
Right.
those really, really coarse. It don't look
Yes.
like it don't
Yeah.
get curly when it
Yeah.
wet. That's like
Yeah.
4C. So it's all different
And I think,
grades of curls. And
you know,
like you said, you learn to take care of your hair
with
depending on it.
ladies or guys that have the more coarse textures, I think education needs to happen around the fact that this does not mean their hair is not done.
Exactly.
You know, just because they've not styled it a certain way.
Exactly. That's
That is how they are showing up in the world, and we need to respect that
exactly.
and not comment that,
Exactly.
you know, because it might not even be possible for them to curl it or tie it up. So
Exactly.
accepting people as they are, not assuming that that is an undone individual or a
Exactly.
messy individual, that's completely
Exactly.
wrong,
Exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
And like you mentioned about the lady saying to you something about like you're not, would you say you're not kept or something
Yeah,
with
with
having your hair.
her hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like that's so crazy. It's so
Shit
crazy. But I
happens.
think
So
it comes from
yeah.
judgment, it comes from ignorance. But
Yes.
when we set an example by rocking our natural hair, using opportunities to educate other people when
Yes.
they say something, you know, sometimes it might be to make it awkward. You know, what do you mean by that?
I always tell people I love my
Yeah.
hair. It defies gravity.
Yeah.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's my
and I think
natural umbrella.
they say women go through all these hairstyles, and eventually a woman has found herself when she's rocking her natural hair, right? Because it's like, this is me. I
Yeah.
don't care about the societal context. I don't
Yeah.
care that men love the long, flowy, glamour model style flyaway hair. I don't care. This is my hair, you know, and I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna embrace it. And you either like me as I am,
I'm
and you know, I think
exactly.
the beauty of, and I like to switch up my style. So yeah, one day you might get Afro Chelsea, the next day you get slick back, ponytail clip on, you know,
Yeah.
might get
Yeah.
braids
High
next month.
puff. You might
Yeah,
get a high puff
you
next month.
get high puff, you might get, you know, the little curls at the back, and then
Yeah.
you got, you know, you got 10 friends in one, 10 girlfriends in one. And that's
Yes.
beautiful. Own it,
Yes.
you know. And
Yes.
I think historically it was a statement. It was a statement of black
Yeah.
pride, a
Yeah.
statement of, I am not conforming to your Eurocentric beauty standards or norms.
Mhm.
This is how I say no to
Mhm.
that. And what
Yes.
I'm loving seeing, even though it's not happening as much, but I'm loving seeing celebrities,
Yeah.
political, you know, activists rocking the natural hair. They're not doing that for
Yes.
no reason. There's a reason
Yes.
Alicia Keys is rocking no makeup
Yes.
and or minimal
Yes.
makeup and natural hair. She's
Yes.
telling you something.
Yes. Yes.
Ilian, this is a question for Chelsea. This might have been said earlier, but why did you do the big chop? What was your inspo? Great question. Honestly, I have historically with big changes in my life, the hair has been the go-to for me. It feels it's hard to explain, but it feels like a release to me to really change the style. And I think along my own journey, I've been working to get to this. And I got closer with my braids and I was like, yes. And I love the braids, you know. I think I started a bit of a trend and all the girls were getting these like boho braids, whatever they're called. But I think really what I was aching for was my curls. And I felt this kind of shame or fear, especially a woman who works in business in an office. I'm with business people all the time, and I don't see a lot of women with the hair out like mine. You know, we're in the Caribbean. I see a lot of women with curly hair, tied back, slicked back, whatever, but I don't see it out. And I thought, you know what? This just feels right. This is the time for me. And I did have that thought in my head of a certain guy saying to me, I liked your hair when it was like X, the opposite to this. And I was like, no, I'm reclaiming me. I want to love me for me. How can I expect somebody else who's genuine to love me for me if I'm out here? I look at pictures of myself now and I'm like, that doesn't really even look like me the way I see me. But now I'm like, this Chelsea. This
Yeah,
feels
you're
real to
you.
me. Yeah.
You wake up like that, basically. That's you.
Yeah, thanks, Eliane. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm putting on a front. I don't feel like I'm conforming or
Exactly.
trying to
That's how
look
I
like
feel.
anyone. I'm embracing
Exactly.
looking different,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And as we should,
And
as we should. Like you said, in a multicultural society that is so diverse, what better way to shout that than you will notice me when I walk in the
you
room?
gonna notice me in my hair.
Yeah.
You gonna notice me.
Question for you, Melesia.
Which question? I
How
can't see the question.
Ilian said, how do you encourage your girls to love their curls?
Oh, from the time they like for me, it got to a point where they used to watch a lot of TV because my children are homeschooled, by the way. So, they watch TV and stuff.
Rebel. You're a
and
rebel all round. Like, I salute you. I could never.
and they used to see the stuff we always see on TV. And they would always say, Mom, I want to straighten my hair. Mom, I want to straighten my hair. I want straight hair, blow dry hair. I'd be like, listen, you have to embrace yourself for who you
Mm,
are. And I always drill that in them. I say, don't try to be looking like them. I say, you have to accept yourself for you, who you are.
mm,
And I would always wear my natural hair around them all the time. My kids always tell me, Mama, whenever I think of you, as I alluded to earlier, they always picture me with my afro. Because
mm,
that's just all they used to see me with. I go out to corporate meetings, I go out to a banquet, I'll go to the most lavish event, just like this with my hair, put on
mm,
some earrings, fix up myself, good to
mm,
go. And they see that I accept myself for who I
mm,
am.
mm.
And so that helps them to now accept themselves. So if they see me like put color, or if they see me like put some AI on picture or makeup, they're like, Mommy, I don't like that. I like you in
Oh,
your natural state. I like you in
yeah,
your natural state. And they
yeah,
remind me of that over and over. And it's because I've encouraged them.
yes,
Because like I said, my youngest daughter, she experienced when she used to go to school,
yeah,
she experienced bullying because of her hair.
yeah,
And she used to feel a way about that.
mm,
And I said, baby, your hair defies gravity, sweetie.
yes,
You know
it's
what that means?
super. Yeah.
You know what that means? I say your skin absorbs the sun rays. You know
Oh,
what that means? I would empower them like that.
mm,
Everybody here don't defy. You know what? You know why this defy gravity? Her hair does that naturally.
yes, yes.
You are a queen, girl.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that's how I would talk to my children over and over and over to get them to understand, accept yourself for who you are. And with me, my two daughters have two different types of hair.
Yeah,
So one would feel like one got better hair than the other because I say my other daughter has like a type 3
yes,
and my youngest has a type 4C.
yes.
So she used to get jealous of her older sister
Oh,
with the different textures of the curls. She
yes.
felt her sister hair, you can just touch it with water and it just get curly, but hers it hard to comb and she would cry to clear it out. But I would always encourage her, like, baby, Maya, her sister is mine. Say, sweetie, your older sister, her hair can't keep no hairstyles. Because the softer the hair is,
Yeah,
easy it is to
yeah.
tie and dig up and can't. Your hair, baby, can hold all the hairstyles you put in it.
Yes,
And
you're
I would
speaking
encourage it,
life into
right?
them. And it's
And
so
that's what I would
important
do.
just across the board. If we as mothers are or role models if you're not a
Mhm.
mother, but we're speaking negatively about ourselves to
Mhm.
ourselves. People are
Mhm.
picking up on that and absorbing that. If I'm in the mirror saying, "Oh, I'm so fat," your child is hearing that and then, oh, repeating what they're
Mhm.
hearing mummy say as if that's normalized. If
Right.
mummy's like, "Oh, I hate my curly hair," what do you think
Right.
my child's gonna say? But if mummy's like, "Wow, look at our hair,
Yeah.
baby. Like, look at us. Like, look at our
Yes.
afros.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
we're not afraid of the rain when we got our
No,
afros."
that's right. And when my daughter and I out, we be rocking our afros
Yes,
together, doing
and
our things. So
that's pride. That's
yeah.
pride for your cultural
Yes.
heritage. That's pride
Yes.
for accepting who you are. And that's so empowering and so powerful. And I think that on a positive note, a lot of the positives that I get from rocking my natural hair in the Cayman community is women will compliment me
Yes.
and say, "I love your hair," and like, "Wow, your hair's beautiful," and I wish I could wear my hair, and I'm thinking about doing my natural hair journey, and I'm like, yes, all right, recruited one more.
Just do
um
it.
and
Just
then
do.
men, one
Yes.
difference I've seen in the UK, it was kind of different, whereas you get a lot of surprise and jokes in the
Mhm.
Caribbean. When I started wearing my hair, naturally, like, I was surprised men would literally like stop and be
Yes.
like, "I really love your hair." Like,
Yes.
I think
Many
Caribbean
compliments.
men rate it. Forgive
Yes,
me if I'm
they
wrong, if there's any
do.
guys in here. Why is that? Do you
They
know?
do.
They just
Because
appreciate it.
they love natural hair. Like my husband's a Caribbean
Yeah,
guy. I'm so happy for a supportive husband.
yeah,
Like, he loves my natural hair. If I try to tell him, "Babes, I want to straighten my hair," he'd be like, "No, you don't have to
yeah,
straighten your hair. I need your hair curly." Like, he loves my afro no matter how I wear
yeah.
it. He's embracing
Because
of
you're a black queen,
that.
right?
I'm his black queen,
Yeah,
right? So he just loves my my hair, and it's
that's
natural. See, a lot of
amazing.
Caribbean
Yeah,
men love to
yeah.
see women with their hair in their natural
Do you
state.
think that's because it's rarer?
I
Do you think that's because most women are hiding their natural hair
I
in the
think so,
Caribbean?
because I
Mm,
think a lot of women think men like all the other looks,
mm,
but I think a lot of men, if you was to go and have a street talk and ask men, you
yeah,
prefer fake or real, they go tell you they
yeah,
want real.
yeah. No, you're right. Well, that's the vibe I'm getting anyway. I'm like, oh,
Men
thanks.
just don't talk about it. They're not gonna be
Yeah,
like, "I don't want you to do that. I
yeah,
don't." They're gonna
yeah,
accept you.
yeah.
However, men don't really care about
Yeah,
hair
yeah,
and all of that.
yeah.
They're
But
more
it's
about
nice to hear,
yeah,
it is nice to receive those
they
compliments,
love
especially when
natural
it's
stuff.
taken so much courage to just rock your natural
Yeah,
hair for a man to be like, wow,
yeah.
and I got a couple of those like, "Oh, wow, you look like a
What they
completely different
do?
person," and like, "Wow, your hair's so," I'm like, "Yeah, it's all thanks." You just
Yeah,
don't really think men would even pick up on that, but
they do,
it's a
and they
nice
like it.
compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's encouraging.
Yes, it is. It is. It is.
It's really
It
encouraging. So I
is.
just think, yes, we've identified there are still major issues in the corporate field for sure.
Yes.
I know when I was going for interviews, I certainly wouldn't want to rock up
No.
back then with my hair, which is so sad, but I wouldn't want to rock up as myself. I used to think, right, what is the most corporate look I can think of? It's either
Yep.
slick back or it's straight or it's, tamed in a way, tamed, because I guess I thought my natural hair, just like you mentioned about that lady saying, just didn't look like I was kept, like
It
well
was
kept,
unruly.
unruly, such an outdated, like,
Yes.
now that I think about it. But there's issues within the corporate field, but one of the things that they can do is make sure that their policies
Mhm.
really are specific and clear about what discrimination is. Yes, it is discriminatory to say to your co-worker, "Why didn't you brush your hair today?" or point, or make jokes, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
needs to be laid out in the policies. I
Right.
think I think diversity needs to be on the agenda at all times. And specifically in Cayman, they need to do more than just, okay, we need to hire a Caymanian, but then they're like, "We're not going to hire that Caymanian because the hair was an afro." Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you
Well,
mean.
yeah, you of all people can speak to that more than I can, right?
Yes,
But these
I
are real issues, like shockingly surprising issues
yes,
in the
yes.
Caribbean,
In
right?
the Caribbean, but like I said, the outside influence of
Mm,
many things that
mm,
we have to deal with being
mm.
just from the Caribbean.
Yes.
But we have to educate ourselves.
Yeah.
That's why we're having, forums like this to talk about these
Yeah.
issues and
Yeah.
talk about these things, so others who may be considering wearing their natural hair or making the journey or starting the
Mm,
journey, doing the big chop, whatever. Love yourself for who you are.
yeah.
Those who may be listening that are going to school and being bullied for your hair because your parents might want you cream your hair and be like the rest. Girl, embrace yourself for who you are. Love
Mm,
yourself for who you are. Nothing ever will be able to change who you are. So all you can do is embrace it. You're beautiful. If your hair don't have curls, still love it.
yes.
It's beautiful. My
Yeah.
daughter's hair don't have curls,
Yeah.
like I tell you, defies
Yeah.
gravity. Her hair just sticks
Yeah.
up and there's nothing you can do about it. That is power to me.
Yes. And if you're wondering what the best style is for you, it is your natural style. You will never look prettier than you do when your hair is natural because that is the way God intended. That is the way you were born.
Some people don't
That
know
is,
what styles to do or like how to do it. Just leave it. If you got afros, get one little headband, put one little headband in it and pull it back.
and
Good
there's
to go.
loads of different styles you
Done.
could do with this, but I just
Done.
tend to do the fro, but like there's the
There's just a
Mohican. Yeah,
mohawk you can do. There you
mohawk.
go.
There's the little fluff pot, the little, what do you
Yeah.
call it? Puff on the top.
Yes.
All
There's many different
sorts. Yeah, all sorts. So I hope that this does reach at least one person who feels empowered to really own it and love it. And
Yeah. Love
hopefully we'll
yourself.
see more of this kind of these conversations
Mhm.
happening and more
Yes.
people embracing who they are, right?
Yes.
I think it's you deserve to. You are
Yes.
worthy of
The
being your
world is too
unique
much right
self.
now.
Yeah.
Be stressed out about so much stuff, and then we gotta be warming our hair and our
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Just one less thing to now
Yeah.
worry about is your hair because you've now
Yes.
accepted who you are. This is our skin. Like people be trying bleach and do all this stuff, but nobody don't, everybody don't do that. We don't all got no time for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like your skin and other things in your body. Just accept yourself for who you are, and your hair is just one of them. You're like your
Yeah.
eye color.
Yeah.
Many of us wish
Yeah.
we had colored eyes and
Yeah.
all kind of stuff, but it black, it brown, whatever. You're fine.
You
Accept yourself
and
for
you're
who you
one
are.
of one.
Yeah.
You know that? I don't think we sit with that thought enough. You are one of one. That is what makes you unique and beautiful, right? One of one. Your hair, as you said, your eye color,
Everything.
you whatever your special talent
Embrace.
is. And
Embrace
and
yourself.
once you get over that awkwardness, you're
Yes.
gonna really feel empowered to be the person or the woman that you were meant to be,
Yes. Yeah.
because
And
there's no other journey for you other than being who you are.
you're not alone. You're all if you want to wear afro, just know Melesia wearing hers today too. You might be
Yeah.
seeing me on the
If you
street.
feel
No,
shy,
yeah, just know Melesia rocking hers
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah,
So you're
yeah,
not alone.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm rocking it in the gym, in the office,
Yes.
with the kids on the
Yes.
school run. If I'm going out, I might put some hoops in, but I'm still rocking the big
Yes.
hair.
Yes.
You will not miss me in a crowd, right?
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Oh, awesome. Was there any other questions anybody else had? Exactly, Leanne. God did create you exactly the way you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Exactly. And for you
Yes.
to say that, that is beautiful and
Yes.
empowering. And, you inspire so many people, so many women in particular. You really do have the power to
Yeah.
help spread this message and open up these
Yes.
conversations for lots of young Kimanians, and not even just Kimanians, people from all over the world who are here, who
Yes.
come here with different hairstyles, and we don't want them to feel like they can't go to work with their natural, beautiful
Yeah.
hair. It's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
really
indeed.
important.
Yes. Love yourself. Embrace yourself for who you are.
Yeah. Regardless if
This
this
is that.
guy or this girl or your boss says this, educate them.
Yes, you have to be
Educate
with
them.
a guy who are not loving you for who you are, sweetie. You need to come keep looking. You
Yeah.
need to just looking because and a guy who cares about you will accept you in your natural state
And love you that
and
way. Love
love
you that
you.
way. Let him see you that way.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
absolutely. Okay, we're going to leave it there. But
Alrighty.
thank
So
you
nice.
so much, Melesia, for joining me for this really
Thank you,
important topic.
Chelsea.
We're going to
Thank
have to
you.
do something like this again when we have another brainwave. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. I really hope that,
Yes.
yeah, I hope you guys found this useful and helpful.
And
And yeah,
encouraging,
encouraging, empowering.
empowering,
Yes.
queens.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, take care,
Yeah.
guys. Bye, Melesia.